Hey. Good morning. Trying to wake up with me. It is Friday. Thank God. You know what it is, First Sky Omaha Radio. What's up? You ready to feel good? Funky Friday is going down.
Talk to me nice.
Good morning. Good morning. Wake up. Time to get your body moving. At least the top half if you're sitting down.
Yeah. Feel it in your toes later.
There you go. Well, welcome. Good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich on this Friday, July 22nd, 2022. What's going on with you?
22.
Good morning. We got good Friday morning First Sky fam and squad from Pops. What's happening?
Hey.
Laura Lynette gives us a good morning. Good morning to you as well. Michelle Moreno says good morning. Good morning to you as well. And Judy Prinzer gives us a good morning. So good morning to you. Thanks. Everybody waking up early in the morning. I like that. If I got to get up, you got to get up. Lucia Rodriguez gives us a good morning. How you doing, sis? Whoo, man. Is anybody feeling like this Friday? It feels like a Monday? I don't know what it is. Tired, boss. Ain't no more. Valentine gives us a morning, fam. What's happening? Vaughn Chapman says good morning. Good morning to you too. Some of our expert chat chimers in the house. What's going on with you?
Hey.
Yeah, man. Really appreciate everybody that jumps into Friends of First Sky Omaha and drops those gems. All the things for us to talk about. So yeah, lots to talk about today as well. An extensive haps coming up. You know what it is. Season 4, Follow the Money. Gonna be doing that for sure. First Sky Omaha Radio, and shout out to the radio listeners as well over there on First Sky Omaha the .com, the listen button. Appreciate that. Let us know how the 6:30 mix was with 6:30 crew if you're in the house. Love you, appreciate you. I have a couple more sips of coffee and wake on up. Man. How you doing over there, buddy? You in deep thought already?
I'm following the money, man. I'm in the rabbit hole, man. I'm in the rabbit hole. I'm looking for numbers. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Lots to talk about today for sure. We got a special guest coming in, Tre King. Let's talk about some music education for kids.
For the babies.
Babies need to learn the musics. Yeah, man. Whatever is on your hearts and minds, like Buddy says, give us some feedback as well about some of the things to talk about, what's happening this weekend. Get your haps ready for sure.
Yeah, man.
What's happening, Chelsea? Happy Friday to you, too. Everybody's getting busy around here. That's what's really going on. There's a few things going on this weekend, though, I'm going to get to.
Okay.
Yeah,
it is Friday.
One DJ gig that's happening Saturday night that I can't miss. So... yeah, we'll talk about it. Haps coming up. Like Keezer says, here we are again. Happy Friday.
Hey.
Everybody in the chat, do you guys work 9 to 5 and really are like weekend warriors? What's everybody? Does everybody do that kind of schedule still?
The workforce is changing, man. I'm seeing more and more people getting replaced by robots in kiosks.
That's scary.
It is, man. It is actually. We'll be having Leah Cates from the Reader on Monday. Still doing work with Omaha Jobs. Big shout out to our partners over at the Reader. Definitely check them out. But yeah, man, that's a part of our following the money, looking at the job landscape of things.
Yeah, because it's not as the outlook is not as great as everybody was looking at before. Like before, it seemed like there was tons of jobs everywhere. Because we lost 1 million people to COVID, and then things fell apart, and then people didn't want to come back to their crappy jobs, and so everybody was hiring. But I just heard this morning there's been a lot of layoffs.
Man,
getting closer to recession.
Yes, sir. I think we're in it. I honestly think we're
not quite yet. Quite yet. Nope, they're not calling it that yet, but it's feeling like it is.
Right. I was gonna say, feeling the effects, man. Let us know if you're in the same boat. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, didn't one of the chat chimers just get a new job? I'm kind of curious, how was that hunt for you?
Yeah.
How was that job hunt?
Good question. We got some times in there already. 10 to 3 is Michelle Moreno's time. Okay. Laura Lynette says 7 to 3:30. I work from home.
Man, okay.
That's what's really going on. Leigh Keiser says turns out my 7 a.m. meeting starts at 7:15. Get to listen to you guys for a few. That's what's up.
Hey, squeeze it in while you can.
You tell them to hold them meetings till 9 o'clock from now on. Paul B said so.
Paul B sent you.
Mayor Sanchez in the house. What's up, man? He's going golfing.
The mayor.
The mayor's back. What's going on, bro?
Oh, you golf, man? Okay. Yeah. Hey, I'll be in Omaha in September. I'm DJing the wedding, man. We might have to squeeze a couple rounds in.
Well, I'm still trying to get out there with you and Pops for real.
Man, hey,
September, they give me some time to hit the range and get my swing back.
Yeah, I tell you about my days as a caddy. Did I ever tell you about that?
No. Wait.
Yeah. Yeah, man. About that. My first job was working under PGA pro Steve Hogan, rest in peace, at Miller Park. Now Steve Hogan course. And we would, as one of the youngsters on the course, we would get into the Cox Classic every year out at Eagle Run. And I've met a couple pros. I still got some signed hats and stuff around here. Not acted as a caddy and held the score and everything. Yeah, golfing is deep in my history.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Also, Michelle Trosclair's Pops comes out here and he's with a league of gentlemen, older gentlemen that go golfing.
Oh yeah, I mean Steve Hogan course. You chill out there even now today. You might see some NFL players come through. You might see some actors come through. I see Brother Beasley out there all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah, all the time.
Smash a little white ball.
Yeah. Pops talks to him and things like that, man. So a big shout out to everybody over there, and also big shout out again to John Beasley the Great getting that new street, or I guess not really a street, a lot. Is it more of a lot than a street?
It's the street name. That's all. He got the street name.
He got the sign. He got the
sign. I'm not really clear on the street or the history on it either, but I'm gonna be talking to those guys. I shot a little video for them, so I'm gonna hit them back up and find out the history of why that particular street, that particular area. But yeah, man, John Beasley's getting it's a great thing for him to get his flowers.
Man, I can still smell
them. That's right. Mm-hmm. Hey, Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado's in the house. He says checking in from Texas.
Hey,
what's going on, big bro?
Texas in the building.
Oh. Pop says the recession is always in full force for months before they call it one. That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, they said they need another 100,000 people to apply for unemployment before they can really call it a recession.
Okay.
There's already 250,000 people in and we got Rome's reviews over there on YouTube. What's going on, Mayor Sanchez? He says, with future recession talk, if you aren't making sacrifices now.
That's what I'm saying.
Pops warned me. He was like, hey, man, dry goods. We got to hit our brother Muhammad and start stocking up on food stuffs.
Yeah, those when I go to the store, I go to international markets a lot down here. It's very diverse in this area. But they have like the big 50-pound bags of rice, looking very tempting, man. I might have to grab me one of those.
Hey, brother Benjamin, brother Jonathan, you have out there in Texas, I heard there's like a massive, crazy heat wave going on. Are you guys hit by that heat wave out there? Let us know. Somewhere else that was there. Oh, they were saying England is hotter than ever right now as well. So there's like these record heat temperatures all across the world right now. So we'll see. Pop says, I love me some golf. I get my money's worth by hitting my balls into everyone else's fairways.
I get a lot of 4 in, huh?
You can meet everybody on the course.
Yeah. Hey, as long as you make it back to your hole, it all counts. It all counts.
It's true. It counts one way or another. It counts. Positively or negatively, it counts.
Yeah.
Brother Valentine says, keep in mind that most workforce data reports do not note underemployment numbers.
See, there you go.
Very true.
How many people working 2-3 jobs?
They gotta. I don't know what you're supposed to do. You got to do better when it comes to statistics. If you're going to be doing stuff like calling recessions and messing with percentages and everything else, like you got to do something about it. 110 the other day. See.
Sheesh. Yeah, keep it cool, man. I gotta check in. My brother lives in Austin. I gotta check in. I didn't know it was like that down there. But I just don't mess with Texas. Period, man. Even beyond a heat wave, it's too hot in Texas. I flew through Texas one time and felt the heat coming from like in between the cracks. When you get off the airplane and you go through that tunnel, I felt the heat kind of seeping in, and I was like,
I thought you were gonna say you felt the heat coming up through the plane, through the cracks of the plane. That little hole in the window. Man, that's hot air coming through that little hole.
Nah. I was getting off the plane, but I felt enough. To know I don't mess with Texas.
Judy Princess says golf is human fetching.
Okay.
Fetching Fido.
Yeah, a little bit. More like frisbee golf. I don't know if you ever played that, but
frisbee golf is fun for everyone. Brother Alvarado says it was 110 the other day. Pop says I stopped counting strokes once I get to 10 per hole.
Yeah, that's the rule. That's the rule. You just pick it up and keep going.
Right, it's just supposed to be fun,
Yeah.
You're supposed to be taking a walk in the park is what it really boils
really down is. That's what I enjoy. Just that serenity, man. That quietness until you get folks like Pops coming in and balls flying at you yelling 4.
Oh man, 7:12 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, thank you for joining us. Buddy's going to jump into some of the things we're going to talk about today, and then get this party started.
Yeah, we're talking about more than just golf today. But as always, if there's anything on your hearts or your minds that you would actually like to discuss, please feel free to bring that to the peanut gallery, and we will discuss and dive into it as much as we can, at least. But there are some things we have prepared, thanks to you all for, again, dropping these things in our Friends of First Sky Omaha page on Facebook. If you're not a part of that group, please make sure you go and do so. That is the best way to keep up with all the conversations, all the things going on, and all the haps, actually. A lot of events are being posted on that page as well. So, again, big shout out to everyone populating that. But yeah, man, we will have a guest today, brother Tre King, coming in to talk about his music program. Again, First Sky Omaha is all about the babies, all about the youth. So yeah, and all about the music, man. So those two things coming together. Definitely excited to speak to that brother. But also continuing our theme for this season, following the money, following that bag. And Paul B, man, you called it as far as this whole hoopla, this whole controversy surrounding overpaying and underpaying from the Treasury office or department to school districts. And now there's a lawsuit coming down the pipe. Westside is actually Westside and several other school districts are suing John Ewing's Treasury office. Again, John Ewing is a Douglas County treasurer, and they're saying that they were underpaid to the tune of $3.7 million. So yeah, we'll talk about that again. Paul, you called it, so I would like to hear more about from you on this. Also, we'll be talking about some prison numbers. Big shout out to NMR Valentine for bringing this to our attention. Actually calling out, or excuse me, this is Brother Von Chapman. Calling out the ACLU of Nebraska, who recognize the racial disparity in Nebraska prisons. Yes, we are still talking about Nebraska prisons. Again, one of the most overcrowded prison systems, not just in the country, but in the world. I actually found some data to lay it out as far as I think it was per 100,000, the number of people incarcerated in the state in compared to other countries around the world. And yes, the numbers are comparable. So not looking good. And actually, we're going to look at some of the dollars behind some of that because a lot of money in the prison industrial complex. Also, speaking of money, and prison industrial complex. Joe Biden was apparently going to make a big announcement into some money that he was preparing to invest in police, going the complete opposite direction. So we'll talk about that announcement. And of course, we got to dive into some Trump news. Sorry, Paul.
January 6th.
Yeah, man. As the chat chimers call it, the best stuff on TV right now. So, yeah, we'll talk about that and more. Again, we're here for the next 2 hours. Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, Paul Beeee, all of you, the chat chimers. First Sky Omaha. Let's go.
Let's do it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. This is the 4th season entitled Follow the Money. And thank you for joining us, all the chat chimers, everybody who's in the chat, everybody who has a part in this discussion. We really appreciate you. Do us a favor, if you're on Facebook, share the show. Share the show on your page. Let's get as many people in the room as we can to discuss the things that we are discussing. Remember, the things that we discuss, we pass along. And, people are paying attention and they're listening and they're writing articles and they're digging deep into things that we're talking about here because they feel like they're getting really honest feedback from us just because we're all sitting around discussing some of these issues, some of the local politics and things that's going on. Got a funny story from our friend Megan over there at Tiny House. She said she went to a gathering of a bunch of rich folks raising some money for something, and a woman came up to her and said, "Who you like for governor?" She said, "I don't like none of them. Everybody's trash." And she said, "Well, hi, I'm running for governor." I said, older lady, huh? She said, yeah. I said, was it Carol Blood? She said, yeah, it was Carol Blood. So I got a chance to talk to her about Carol Blood and what she's on, what she's about. And now she's like, okay, well, good. I'm glad I met her. I'm sold. So we might be doing a little rally over at the Tiny House for some new blood here coming up.
Okay.
And all that good stuff. But yeah, it cracked me up how she introduced herself to her. But man, we're on that right now. It's big time. We got to talk really deep about like her chances and what county she's got to win over and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a lot. There's November. It's really coming up, and so yeah, really interesting stuff. But a lot of good conversations, and I was really happy to have known Carol Blood from the fact that she's been on the show several times, and I can relay that information to people. Just because of these conversations. So really appreciate everybody that just is chiming into the chat, having these conversations and helping us get to know some of the candidates, helping us get to know some of the issues. Let's continue that on, please. And let's do it and spread the word. So yeah, share the show if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, do all that good stuff. And tell a friend. Anybody who you think would be able to contribute some good conversation to some of these things that we're talking about. So I appreciate that. Brooke Allen says, good morning, Brooke. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Good morning from Zane. What's happening, Zane? What's going on, my dude?
Top of the morning.
Top of the morning to you. In the meantime, let's jump on in, buddy. What you thinking about these days?
We'll kick things off with this whole controversy surrounding overpaying and underpaying, again, following the money of school districts and who's receiving what. And there is some controversy, and this actually broke towards the end of last season, when we first started talking about it and first kind of heard of it. Douglas County Treasurer John Ewing and his office apparently used a very antiquated formula to dictate which school districts get an allotment of money. According to John Ewing's office, this is actually a calculation that the Treasurer's office has been using for the last 61 years. But For some reason, now it is causing quite a stir. And as Omaha World Herald reports, the Westside School District is suing the Douglas County Treasurer for allegedly failing to repay millions of dollars in payments that, again, were miscalculated for actually the last 3 years, starting in 2019. Again, the lawsuit alleges that the treasurer's office underpaid the Westside community schools by more than $3.7 million. And that was only in 2021, and also similar amounts in the 2020 and 2019 years. The state's auditor office, which is investigating this claim, concluded that Ewing and his staff did incorrectly interpret the state statute that dictates how counties with more than one school district within the single city are supposed to distribute annual funds. That's according those are funds that come from OPPD. Again, these are funds that are made in lieu of property and real estate taxes. So again, a lot of the money that school districts use come from property and real estate taxes, but also OPPD pays into that allotment as well. Actually, the utility directs about 5% of its gross revenue to those entities. And again, this is something that the office of John Ewing recognized, tried to correct, and there's actually still conversations with the individual school districts on how they would like to address this situation. Again, it's not just Westside Public Schools or Westside Schools that's in this lawsuit. Elkhorn schools also were underpaid about $4.2 million. Ralston was underpaid about $4 million. And Millard Public Schools was underpaid by about $820,000. That's all according to the letter from State Auditor Charlie Jansen's office. And on the other side, OPS was overpaid by $5.7 million. So again, the school district with the least amount of resources or that has the most problems as far as funding being OPS got overpaid, while we have Westside and Ralston and Elkhorn being underpaid.
Right. What say you in the chat on this one? We reported this a while back, and it didn't seem like a story at the time because it seemed like it was a simple mistake,
right,
that Brother Ewing was already in the process of fixing, and there was a explanation behind it and some action behind it, and that should have been the end of it. But I was like, we need to keep our eye on this one, and the reason why I think we did was because I felt like they were going to take that story, the story of, okay, so the school that has the most kids of color in it got overpaid, and the white schools on the west side got underpaid, and it just felt, and then so this black man John Ewing is responsible for this. And I just felt like it was going to be an attack. I felt like it was going to be something that they came back and they were like, they were going to make more of it than they needed to. And that's what I feel like these lawsuits are about. The problem is already getting corrected. When you speak up and be like, okay, yeah, our office made a mistake. Here's why. Here's what we're going to do to reconcile it. And then why, what do you need to do further than that? And it just felt like one of those things that were going to be like, he's over here trying to steal money from white folks to give it to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like they were going to try to have that kind of narrative happen. And sure enough, to me, when you got several schools on the west side that have teamed together to sue the Douglas County, that's what that's for. Is it not getting reconciled? The only way I can see if you need to take legal action is if the mistake is not getting reconciled. Was it not? Because as last we heard, it was.
And yeah. And when it was first reported, Brother Ewing did mention that his office, he acknowledged the mistake and did mention that his office was working to correct it. And it's quite interesting because also in this article, the treasurer's office says that this is the same formula that they've been using for the last 61 years. So again, this is not, something that John Ewing himself or anyone in his office just created. Like they just came up with a new formula. This seems like something that has been done for quite some time. But again, initially it felt like an honest mistake, but according to this lawsuit, they seems like they are trying to put some pressure, put some fire under John Ewing's seat to get that money pay back. Craig Kubicek, who's the deputy auditor for the investigation, said the state's auditor office doesn't have any say in what happens to the governments that were underpaid or overpaid. So that's another interesting part of this, as far as like the auditor's office can't necessarily force the money to be paid back either. It's kind of just being left up to the attorneys. According to Kubicek, it says we just turn the investigation over and let the attorneys figure out how they are going to go back and correct it and move forward if they do that at all. So, the prospect of it getting paid back, I don't know. Is this something that they'll just correct the formulas and move forward? But it is very interesting to see this lawsuit come out, especially if this is something that's been done for the last 60, plus years.
In the chat, Josh Tate says, I agree, Paul. First thing I thought of is that that's a pretty simple mistake to make at that level. Yeah.
Right.
Chelsea says, if they didn't notice the money missing, should they really be upset?
3 years.
Brooke Allen says, I knew that wasn't going to be the end of it. That's what I'm feeling like too. Rome's Review says, sounds like we owe him gratitude for catching the 61-year-old mistake and not let it continue. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I mean, so there's a lot of questions behind all of that. I can't help after we have all these kinds of discussions that we have, I can't help my mind going to like Ricketts, who wants to take over the school system. Just like, how can you not put in all the politics about this? About the fact that there's like 70% of kids in OPS are of color, and it's because of a lot of the white flight, people taking their white kids out and putting them in Westside schools, starting whole new districts and stuff like that in order for that kind of separation to happen. And then it just feels like they're trying to get him out of that seat. They're trying to there's too much around it that for me feels like they're making a bigger deal out of it than they should. I feel like. And SJ Prater in the chat real quick says Omaha is a political place. Everything becomes political, especially if they're black. At that level, you have to see it coming. We did, how many months ago did we this story came out? We talked about it. We were like, something about this, man. Me knowing that John Ewing is one of our black leaders here in Omaha.
Yeah.
They're not going to just let it be a mistake and let it be something that he can just fix and whatever, and we're just learning more about it reading this, this new article on it too. Like, don't even really have to fix it.
He doesn't. And that's the interesting part. I forget who mentioned we should commend him for catching it. Rome's Review first. He says we should own gratitude for catching it. And that's exactly what he does. He says, again, this is from John Ewing, says, what we are looking to do is to come to a resolution with all of the districts that were underpaid and looking to have all of the entities that were overpaid participate in the solution as well, which OPS has been a part of these discussions. He goes on to say, we're looking at going forward, doing it correctly, and doing the best we can to reconcile the past. So again, this is something that's been done for the last 60 years. And it does seem like this is something that they're kind of blaming Brother Ewing and his staff for. And to your point, it is kind of interesting when you think there's still millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from COVID relief that's still out there to be handled. There's hundreds of millions of dollars coming in North and South Omaha. What role will the Douglas County Treasurer's Office play in kind of dictating some of that money? So when you think about, the political chess that is played, it is kind of interesting. Is this an attempt to, kind of put some dust on his name and get him out of there for this money coming in? I don't know. Is that a reach, or is that the writing on the wall?
It's a good question. It'd be a good question if they win the lawsuit, but it'd also be funny if they lose the lawsuit, because then if they lose the lawsuit, they were really just trying to put some dust on his name, like you said, or make something out of nothing, get some more money out, whatever he's talking about. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Omar Valentine in the chat says, given what happened in Sarpy County, it does not make this easier to accept. Not sure it is centered on race, but more on saving face in politics. Remind us of what happened in Sarpy County.
Same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. There was a miscalculation. The similar mistake was found last year in Sarpy County, and there's also another lawsuit filed by 4 school districts. And in that situation, 4 schools districts sue Sarpy County treasurer for $6.5 million in missed payments. The Omaha, Millard, Gretna, and Springville, Platteview school districts all filed the lawsuit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Rome's Reviews is over there on YouTube. He's saying, "Thank you, Mr. Ewing." So
yeah,
leave it at that. He said, "Yeah." Brother Valentine said, "Same thing." Sarpy County fired the treasurer.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get at with that Sarpy County situation, because the treasurer was fired, and I actually remember there was even some talk and some reports about him possibly facing some time and some real repercussions for that. So yeah, we definitely a situation. Exactly, definitely a situation we should look out for. And again, I'm trying to find the numbers and actually follow the money as far as what is the average budget for some of these school districts, and how do they compare to other school districts.
Right.
But that's going to take some research.
I'm also thinking about, what would have happened if OPS was underpaid? What would have overpaid? What would have happened if they were paid what they were supposed to be paid?
And that's my thought as well. It's my thought as well, because we've already talked about the amount. We've been talking about the issues at OPS just ad nauseum. I mean, if you want to talk about the busing situation and the beginning of the school year, some of the issues there with students getting to and from school on time or at all, or the amount of teachers leaving schools and being underpaid, and it's just a sticky situation. So yeah, to that point, if there's already too much money going in, what would that look like if that is reconciled and those payments are corrected? Where would that leave OPS?
Good question. Marianne Williams in the chat says, "Smells really bad when 60-year-old mistake is only something when a black guy is in charge, but that's how this always goes." Von Chapman says, "Where's the accountability and auditing regarding nonprofits in North Omaha?"
It's a good question.
That's a good question. That's definitely a area we can go off in for sure. So yeah. Anyway, back to this issue here. Like I think once again, something to keep the eye on and maybe dig a little deeper on and find out what's going on there. I'm glad that you guys brought up the Sarpy County situation, because that's eye opening. That's like, okay, they're gonna follow that playbook. Is that what they're trying to do here?
Mm-hmm.
Brother Valentine says Douglas County is no longer synonymous with the city of Omaha. Those outside of the city think a little differently. Interesting. Douglas County is no longer synonymous with the city of Omaha. Those outside of the city think a little differently.
I'm kind of curious. What do you mean by those outside of the city think a little differently? How so?
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Well, we'll definitely dig deeper and keep an eye on this thing, because I just felt like it was gonna go after him for real. 7:33 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, that is. If you're just joining us, thank you very much for tuning in. This is First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you chiming into the chat. If you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show. We're definitely trying to grow the show, grow the chat chimers, everybody who can come in and have some good stuff to share with us. So just to get everybody in the conversation, do us a favor, share the show on your page and tell a friend. Buddy, do you want to go to a quick break before we jump to the next story, or are you ready to go?
Yes, sir. We can go to a quick break. I'm still kind of looking at some of these numbers as far as school budgets and things like that. And then also when we come back, I do want to toss it and kind of make a transition from schools to prisons. Again, follow the money.
The pipeline. We going down the pipeline?
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you. Brother Valentine says, for a good while, when Douglas County is mentioned, we automatically look at Omaha's political pulse views. Given the flight out of Omaha, the rest of the county is potentially those who are not in agreement with Omaha culture and politics.
Okay.
Very interesting. There is a lot of flight out. I do definitely see a separation sometimes between the city of Omaha, which I kind of include, north side, downtown, midtown, Benson area, Blackstone area, South Omaha, South Central Omaha. There's definitely like a difference of a vibe in those places, and then the places that are more on the outskirts, that are moving out towards west, for instance, especially. Even like Bellevue area to me seems a lot different sometimes. So, and this is all within Douglas County, and so, that's interesting that now does kind of feel like a divide sometimes.
Definitely, definitely
within Douglas County.
Right, which is quite interesting. Which areas, and shout out to Precious McKesson for pointing this out for us, which areas are annexed and which areas aren't. And when you take into account voting numbers and demographics, very, very interesting. So yes, good point by the NMR.
Always.
Yeah. But let's keep it moving, man. I did want to pivot a little bit from the schools to prisons and continue to follow the money, and maybe draw a comparison or a connection between the two, because we talk about what happens if or when they correct that the financing of OPS, and the fact that OPS is majority students, quote unquote, of color, and taking into consideration the prison or preschool to prison pipeline, and how that affects families. Again, if OPS is further underfunded or more money is taken from OPS, then you got to know that's going to cause more trouble for the most populated school district in the state. And what happens with a lot of those students? So unfortunately, a lot of them find their way into the incarceration system, which leads to numbers like this. Again, big shout out to Brother Vaughn Chapman for posting this on Friends of First Sky. Apparently 5% of Nebraskans are so-called black, but to the contrast, more than a quarter of Nebraska's in our prisons are quote unquote black. That racial disparity is one of the worst in the nation. It can't continue. This is again a post from the ACLU of Nebraska, to which Brother Vaughn Chapman asked, the Nebraska ACLU is aware of this problem, authored this post, and compiled these numbers, and should be compelled to litigate for the victims. Is there a reason they have not done so? And that's a question that was actually directed to Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name. Brother Paul Fallman, some respect on his name as well. And you, Paul B. So
who's respect on my name?
Yes. Oh yeah. No, definitely. But we have talked about bringing some people on from the ACLU in the past. I know the ACLU has been a part of some lawsuits and kicking up some dust and asking some questions as far as Nebraska prisons go. And I tried to jump down the rabbit hole a little bit, and it's actually kind of hard to find the actual financial breakdown of these prisons per state. Again, trying to look at how much money does Nebraska make from prisons?
That's a good question.
How much money does the state rake in from these prisons? And you can break down how much. I think it is stated that it costs about $40,000 to house one inmate. So we can calculate how much they're spending. But again, I have an inclination that the state is making more money than they're spending on these prisons. So I'm definitely trying to figure out the economics behind it. But I was able to break down some of the corporations that are a part of this prison industrial complex, something that we don't talk about enough as far as the finances behind it. Follow the money. Why is the prison industrial complex what it is? And especially in Nebraska, again, one of the most populated prison systems in the world. And then you kind of look at the number of businesses that are a part of this whole complex. Actually, can I share this list real quick, just so we can see the scroll down? I mean, we're looking at 3 pages of businesses that are all a part in some way, shape, or form with this, just to follow the money. And again, all of these are contracts. All of these, Avalon, these are community corrections, so they do bail, day reporting, electric monitoring, outpatient programs. I mean, listen, Amazon, Microsoft dealing with technologies, Berkshire Hathaway dealing with equipment. You talking about beds, phones.
Wow.
And this is just on the national level. Nebraska has some of the highest rates as far as how much they charge inmates for phone calls, how much they charge inmates' families to send things in and to visit.
That phone call thing is such a racket. That's crazy.
And you think about it, every aspect of it is big business. I mean, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Greyhound. A lot of corporations have their hand in this thing. And you add in the racial aspect of it. It's a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game. And it looks like Nebraska is, again, leaning more into it. So I will continue this conversation. We'll definitely try to get someone from the ACLU on to tell their side of the story. But I want to know, how much money does the state make from prisons?
Yeah. And that question was a really poignant question for me when I saw it, because I that's the thing, like ACLU is taking upon themselves to put that out, to make that statement. And you know, we always talk about litigation here, you know, and we're like, okay, and that's who we're looking to litigate some of this stuff too. So if you're recognizing what's up there, what is the reason behind not litigating? Is there no case? What's actually the deal? So of course I can't answer for them. Best we can do is give them a call. I've spoken to some of the people in ACLU of Nebraska, of Omaha before, and you know, they expressed, we'll definitely come on and talk about some things. So we'll get them on and ask directly what's really going on with that with that situation. If there's only 5% black folks, and such a high percentage are in jail, you know, as far as comparing them to other groups. You got to wonder why. You got to wonder what's up there. And if there's enough there, then, you know, why not litigate? What's the holdup?
I mean, I've been calling it for some time, man. I think Scott Frakes, Pete Ricketts, there should be some kind of like human rights violations. There should be some international law that's being broke. Like it's not small what's being done here.
And buddy, you called that a long time ago too. Like we really need to ask that question. If you have an overpopulation problem in your prisons, and the government has declared that you are in a state of emergency and you need to have this fixed, and then you just drag your feet for 2 or 3 years, what's the consequences there? And not just drag your feet, but like actively work on building new prisons on top of, you know, like as if that's going to be your solution. Interesting stuff to find out. What's the consequences there? Should anybody else, if it was John Ewing, would he getting litigated right now over that?
Hello, message,
Brother Valentine. I ain't heard that one in a minute. Message. Brother Valentine says the only economics behind prison is profit margin and cheap labor force. I also wonder how many of our prisons here are privately owned.
It's a good question too. What's the breakdown?
Whitney Richardson in the house says, enlightening. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate that. Marianne Williams says, people focus on the private prison industry to the point where they assume state-run prisons are better, but corporations are profiting from the incarcerated people and prison labor at the state level too. If the state is dependent on prison profits, it will always need more prisoners. Tell the truth. Earlier, I was talking about Bellevue. Brother Valentine says Bellevue is in Sarpy County, but we are definitely different over here. Talking about the Douglas County thing we were talking about earlier. He also says significant overlap when it comes to the school districts, but not in other areas. Keep in mind that the Offutt Air Force Base plays a big role in our politics. That's something that we don't really often talk about either.
True.
The influence that Offutt has over there on a bunch of stuff on both counties. S.J. Prater says Nebraska is one of those states like Utah. Look at the history of how this state got started and their rules about former slaves. Let's dig deep on that. I meant laws, not rules. Our laws on former slaves. Interesting stuff.
People kind of forget the Nebraska-Kansas Act played a big role in what was going on as far as the legislation and laws surrounding slavery and certain people in the Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas area not wanting to give up their slaves. And so, yeah, very interesting point.
Yep. Interesting stuff. 7:45 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, it looks like right on time. It looks like our special guest is coming on through in the house here. So let's go ahead and bring him on. We'll shift gears real quick. Keep your comments coming. We really appreciate everybody that's in the chat that's doing that. Keep your comments coming. We're definitely going to continue to talk about these things. You know, this is kind of a staple for us.
Oh yeah.
As far as prison to pipeline talk. In a real way. So it is what it is. In the meantime, between time, our special guest is in the house. We'll bring him on in. This is Tre King. What's going on, King? How you doing, brother?
How you doing, brother?
Can you hear us?
Yeah. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It looks like your internet's a little choppy there.
Sorry, is it working? How's it looking?
We got you in there. Yeah. Okay. Are you on the phone or on a computer?
On the computer.
Okay, if you're on the computer, if there's any way you can plug your computer into the modem directly and not use Wi-Fi, that might help a little bit with your internet. Right now we got you though, so don't stress on it too much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If it gets too choppy, then look around, see if you might be able to do that. But in the meantime, just want to we got you right now. So just thanks for coming on in, and really appreciate you coming on the show, bro. I was talking to you the other day. And really good ideas you have about what kids need.
You're right.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I love it when a brother's trying to do something about it. So do us a favor and introduce yourself and let people know what's going on with you.
My name is Tre King. I'm the owner of 10 Sounds Music Publishing. Right now we're trying to come together with Arts for All to construct a music workshop program for kids. So that's what we're working heavy on right now. We're looking to teach them songwriting, poetry, recording, production, programming, engineering, voice and instrument lessons. So right now we're focused on just trying to get some personnel in and some funding in.
Man. Give us a little background about you, man. Are you from Omaha? Do you play any instruments? What is your background in music?
Yeah, I'm from Omaha. I've been in the church since I was young, so I'm used to singing solos and different things like that. I'm not too good on the instrument side.
Okay.
But I am the program director for 95.7 FM, The Boss as well.
Oh, okay.
So just and playing sports, playing basketball all my life, just music has been huge and just motivation, and kind of just life overall. So music just kind of is me.
Yeah.
Now we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat, bro. And definitely, I know you was over there at the Boss, man. I'm gonna have to holler at you on some side stuff. But yeah, we're close with Bill King over there, man. Big. Actually, I started at 95.7 before I went to 101.3. So definitely big shout out to the family over there. Man, that's nice. That's nice. So how did this idea kind of come to you? What was the inspiration? Like, man, we got to get back to the youth.
Probably for like the last 4 years, about 4 years ago, I wanted to start something for kids, just around art. I didn't really have like too much of something that I actually knew what I wanted to do for real. So just recently this year, getting together with a few individuals and kind of just sitting down and brainstorming finally, I kind of finally decided to focus strictly on music for kids. So we'll use that, and then as years grow, we hope to just add on to maybe pretty much all arts in general in our program.
Man, it's a beautiful thing.
So you're kind of doing this thing as like a coordinator, and you're actually wanting other musicians and teachers to come and do a lot of the teaching for all kinds of different instruments and stuff like that, right? Is that music theory and so on? Yeah,
exactly. We're not trying to change anything they do. Literally, especially if they're seasoned, experienced, we just want you to come in and just kind of teach how you learned, or how you know how to teach. We don't try to change anything. We just try to go kind of why there's a reason why you're at where you're at. So we just want you to come in and kind of just teach what you know.
Okay.
Well, first of all, in the chat, brother, Mar Valentine, who leads a position that he's always has access to help. He says he's in the chat right now. Says I might be able to help with some funding with funding some short-term personnel. So what he does is look for young folks. I would think it's between the ages of 19 and 25, I think.
Okay.
And his program can actually help pay them to come and work for your situation. So so we'll throw that out there right now while he just did. And that's something you can get with him and talk to him about as well for some help there. Before we get too far into it, though, you're doing this program through what's called Arts for All. Is that right?
Yes.
You're partnering up teaming up with them on this.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So those of you in the chat, I know that we've talked about Arts for All before. I believe that we've had some people on from Arts for All. Arts for All is an organization that is teaching art and all kinds of different things in North Omaha, I believe. And if you guys have anybody in the chat that has any history with Arts for All, or worked with them before, or done anything, give us a little bit more insight on that too. And we'll definitely have to bring somebody in from Arts for All to talk about it. But in the meantime, brother, can you tell us a little bit about what Arts for All? Do you know enough to tell us about what Arts for All does?
I can tell you what I know. I know Arts for All kind of works in all parts of Omaha, like you said, North Omaha, South Omaha, Ralston, and I believe West Omaha as well.
Oh wow, okay.
They host different camps and different workshops for kids at a very affordable rate. Usually the workshops last between like a week, maybe 2 weeks long. So they have like piano, different creative writing, different things like that for kids that they consistently do on a weekly basis.
Okay. So they kind of introduce kids to the arts with it and get them going. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, man, I didn't know their reach was that wide. I definitely know they did some work in North and possibly South Omaha, but I didn't know they went out west as well. It's a beautiful thing. I'm kind of curious. Is there a certain age group that you're going for, or what is how you're approaching that?
Right now, we're looking probably between 3 and I want to say like 11 right now.
Okay.
Just to start off for the first year, but eventually we want to go from 3 to 120. Like it doesn't even matter, man. We want everybody to be a part. Our program is a program that has no stipulations, so there's nothing that can hinder you from becoming in the program. So with that happening, we don't want any demographics, age, gender, anything like that to hinder someone from being a part of the program.
And I was going to ask, is there a cost maybe for the parents or something to get involved with that? I know my son was in a cello class for some time, but it was kind of pricey. we had to pay. So is there any cost associated?
So right now we're working out the kinks for the cost. Right now we're working out. So for the people that will help us out, we're looking to pay them $30 an hour. And for the cost of the program, we're looking at a membership. We haven't came up with a number. We're trying to make this as affordable as possible and make it make sense. So right now, as the kinks are getting worked out, we don't have an official price to get started, but we do have a price for the instructors.
Okay, and you guys been looking at Arts for All goes for grants and stuff like that too. So you guys are also looking at bringing in grant money to supplement some of these things and keep the price low and all that too, right?
Exactly.
I think that's what Arts for All does too. So that sounds great. Well, that sounds good, man. I love the fact that you're inspired to do something for folks, for young kids, especially in music, because that's close to our hearts.
Yeah.
And we, like I said, we know a few people over there at Arts for All. It might be a good team up for you, and hope that inspires some new partnerships and new things in the future as well. Tell us what you need. Tell us what step you're on right now. And I know that you wanted to do like a call for instructors and for supporters and so on. So let us know where you're at right now.
So instructors are looking at probably about 10. I think right now I have a total, I want to say about 7. Depending, but volunteers are always welcome just to come in, just to help the kids and want to be seen and want to get some experience. You can always use that as well. We'll always write letters of recommendation, so far and so forth. Funding, of course. So we're heavy, like you said, heavy on the grants. Just reaching out to individuals who want to just help out, want to donate for the cause. We need a lot of state-of-the-art equipment, things like that. So right now, really the main thing that we're looking for is really kind of the funding part, because we need a lot of equipment, just state-of-the-art equipment to make sure the kids have everything they need and they have the state-of-the-art equipment that allows them to create the music that they want to create.
Okay, so you're talking about electronic recording equipment more so than instruments and stuff like that, but you also take instruments too.
Yeah, so we'll take instruments as well as so we're looking at portable isolation booths, mics, headphones, interfaces, cables and cords, speakers. If you want to donate a chair, it doesn't really like anything you think that can go with music. We would definitely take and we could definitely use.
Including money, so you can go buy all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a space that you've identified or plan to work out of?
Arts for All is actually, so the partnership includes a space.
Okay.
So right now we're also working out those Kings. So we're looking at Ralston, North Omaha, or South Omaha. So those are the 3 locations that we're looking at right now.
Okay. Culture House comes to mind. I know there's a recording studio in there. I know he has some instruments there. I'm not sure, Marcy's a very busy person, but that might be a door you might want to knock on.
Yeah, I'll definitely reach out. I know who he is, so I appreciate you for telling me that for sure.
All right. Kind of side note, it just dawned on me. Are you Bill's son?
Yes.
Okay. I figure, man, you can't tell from the voice.
I just thought maybe I knew this brother from somewhere before. I met him before and forgot who he is. So.
Nah.
Wow.
I when you said that, I was like, he probably doesn't know, man. I'm like,
I figured it out. I put 2 and 2 together.
Bro, I'm up here calling him King and everything. Like, didn't
come on, man. A family full of bosses, man. I love it. Yeah. No, man, you're doing it. You're doing it, man. We will definitely support what you and your father are doing, man. We were just bigging him up for the movie made with the internet out in Nebraska. Yeah. Making big moves, man. Yeah. So we're behind whatever you're doing. For sure.
Definitely.
So, Man, however we can help, we're definitely interested. How can people get in contact with you? We got a lot of parents here in the chat. A lot of parents view the show. How I know Paul B. I know Lil Man. Is chopping at the drums. Like how can families get in contact with you?
Facebook, Tre King. I got a couple Facebooks because I got hacked on one. So
it happens.
When I got braids and I'm dressed nice is the one that I'm on mostly. If you click on it, you'll see that I'm active on that one. So on there, you can message me. You can also text me or call me at 531-772-5931. Or you can email me at my first and last name, Tre King, TREKING senior sr@gmail.com. So TREKINGSR@gmail.com. So you can just reach out me anytime, 24/7. My line's open, my email's open. I'll always reach out. So
man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. As we said, we're all about the youth, all about the babies. So we're definitely wishing you the best luck on this in any way we can assist. Definitely we will. And again, brother Omar Valentine, who said that he can help with some funding and personnel, did drop his information in that chat as well. So wanted to make sure we get that.
I'll reach out to you, Omar. I appreciate you, so I'll definitely reach out.
Yeah,
right on. Whitney Richardson in the chat says, I think this will be so impactful for kids. Let us know how we can keep up with the org. So that's what's up, man. Yeah, go ahead and get your website together and all that. As you can see, you got people already that want to dig in and see what you got going on. So yeah, we'll keep in touch and bring you back on to see the progress and all that good stuff.
I appreciate you, gentlemen, for sure.
Right on, man. You have a good one, man. Appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah, man.
All right, you also.
Peace.
All right, man.
How do you not know that, man? Come on, man.
See, it's too early to be an investigative journalist. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, you gotta get the brain moving.
Take a quick break. It's 8:00. If you believe in the concept of time, we'll be right back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich in the house. Stay tuned. Share the show if you're on Facebook. Got lots more to talk about, lots more to come. Stay tuned. That's what's up. New batch of Buddi beats. That's what I'm talking about. Hey.
Vibration.
What's going on? Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Facebook user says, good morning. I need to catch the recording. I just got on and feel like I missed something. Yep, you miss everything, Miss E, when you ain't on. I appreciate you going back and checking it out later. She said, I missed something important from that young man. He's gonna be doing some things, man. I like to see people that he's gonna dive in, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna dive in with what he knows. You start with what you know, and then you grab some people around you that know more, and you put something together. It doesn't matter. So, I see especially Bill King's son, I mean, he's going to be a force to reckon with, for real.
Like I said, apple don't fall far from the tree.
That's a trip, man. I did not put that together.
You didn't hear it in the voice? You didn't? Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was a familiarity, but I just couldn't place it.
I know him from somewhere.
I must have met him before. You know me. Black Dynamite says, hey, what's up, fellas? I know I'm late to the party, but welcome back. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you very much. Wanted to jump back a little bit real quick in the chat because I did see Keatron Zyko in the house from Noise.
Hey.
Keatron Zyko is a extremely talented journalist, and I don't think I've ever met anybody that's got journalism on her mind with every move all the time, and I really appreciate her. So she got on and said, good morning, Paul. Would you mention that there's a meeting Sunday at Miller Park at 1 p.m. to discuss continued burning of coal at North Omaha Station? Eric Williams wants to hear from the public.
Okay.
So so just want to put that out there, definitely as a hap. I'll read that again a little bit closer to the haps later on too. Wanda Lewis in the chat said, she shared it to Miller Park, Mini Lucid Neighborhood Association. So that's cool. That's a good idea too, to share that information with all the neighborhood associations going on. I ran into Kimra Snipes yesterday, and she was telling me about some of the things that her association is doing to try to team up with. She's at the South Omaha Neighborhood Association, and she's trying to team up with the North so that they can sit down and have some discussions about what's going on with the ARPA funds that's coming in. And so I'd like to see people making moves with the neighborhood associations on a lot of this stuff too. And that's, what we really have here at First Sky Omaha is a neighborhood association. We're really in the discussions, and we discuss it regularly. So we want to get a lot of feedback from the other neighborhood associations that are on, feet on the ground with these things too, and keep rolling with it. So definitely keep your eye on these things, be part of those discussions. And like I said, we'll get back to the haps and talk about this a little bit more. Also, Tamika Johnson in the chat says, the first thing that came to my mind when he described his mission is churches, maybe contacting various churches in the community for music equipment they may have. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I feel like I've talked to some folks before who were trying to teach kids music, and they had some inroads at OPS for instruments. I gotta think about where I heard that. But yeah, this, like I said, roots, ground up. This is donate money to the kid, for the kids, donate instruments, and more than that, expertise. If you're a musician and you want, you've been trying to teach some kids, well, this brother's trying to put something together where he can pay you $30 an hour to go do that. So definitely hit him up. We'll see how that. We'll keep an eye on him and have him back on talking about progress. Appreciate that. Pop says, nice tracks. Talking to you, buddy. Von Chapman says, it would appear to be disingenuous for one of the largest local philanthropists in Omaha to be one of the largest investors in the Nebraska prison industrial complex. Disinvestment and reinvestment in areas that address the reasons for this disproportionate numbers of people in the education to prison pipeline system, to include specifically poverty, should be priority amongst the philanthropist community, in contrast to so-called affordable housing. Yeah, I definitely feel they should. That should be highlighted. People over profits. People over material things. People first. I don't think they have any connection really to people. They have more of a connection to what people use, like housing and things like that. And that's why they gotta go that route. Unfortunately,
it's quite a profound statement, man.
What's that?
Again, what you just said. These, not having a connection to the people, but more so the products. The inanimate things, the things that people use. Yeah, that's a good point.
Housing, food, just that's where they're on that side of things. They provide these services. Why they have money to be philanthropists in the first place is because of of all the things that they provide for people. So when you think about it like that, if when you're looking at your audience, when you're looking at your the people who you're trying to sell to, you look at them in a whole different kind of lens than what you probably than a humanistic one. As far as I'm concerned, they're all consumers. They're all people who are going to keep money coming into your business. So how do you switch lanes from looking at them as a consumer to looking at them as people you need to help without disrupting your consumer line?
And actually, I saw a video. A guy was talking about venture capitalism and how some of these funds, are in the trillions and trillions of dollars. I think he mentioned that there's about $60+ trillion out there for venture capitalists and investments into small businesses and communities and things like that. And to compare, I think Biden only spent like $2 trillion on COVID relief last year. And he was saying that a large amount of that money goes, of course, to Caucasian men, if you will. And a lot of those venture capitalist firms and philanthropists look at people of color, quote unquote, more so as charity cases than people to do business with, which is a very, very interesting mentality. And it goes right along with what you were just saying.
Yeah, it just seems to me like how do you make that separation when you're in attack mode, predator mode, to try to get your product sold, and then say, but now now that I've sold you these products, you also need some other help. So let me go back and seems like you would try to fix that the profit. You would try to fix the first part instead of. I mean, how do you even marry the two if you're in put yourself in that position? So interesting. Interesting stuff. Miss Erica Felt says. Von Chapman, if we were thinking the same family, the philanthropy is only done to set up investments, hand in hand to make profits. Bottom line, you can't marry the two. It has to be let's prop them up enough for them to keep on buying our stuff. That's what the help is. That's what the philanthropy. That's how that comes in. Reply. Valentine says that. And counting on nonprofits or initiatives funded by these to address the issue is counterproductive. Nonprofits are not messing up their finding to help people. I think he was trying to say their funding.
Yeah,
nonprofits are not messing up their funding to help people. Yeah, you got to remember too. You learn about the nonprofit world, and there's. When you learn about corporate sponsorship, for instance, there's a percentage of money that they have to put aside to give back to the community. That's the law. They had to make a law for that to happen.
Yep.
That's a law.
Otherwise, it ain't gonna happen.
Otherwise, it's not gonna happen. And nowadays, if you're a company that's not giving back to the community, now that messes with your bottom line, because a lot of people are very much based in what is this company doing for the community, for them to even purchase your products. So you at least got to look like that.
I forget the name of the index, but there's an actual index on the stock market of companies that have a social rating, and you have to have a certain number of social rating to be included in this index. And I think Tesla was one of the companies that was just kicked out of that index based on some of their practices and things that they were doing. Which again affected, the amount of investors that they had, because people who invest in this index, if you're kicked out of that index, you lose those investors. And we're talking about publicly traded, Fortune 500 companies that are a part of this. So, to that point, it definitely now, especially in this social media, social activism era, it definitely matters the type of work that you're doing, which again goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about this whole prison industrial complex, not just only philanthropy outside, but what is your business on the inside of this prison complex? How are you involved in that? So it does impact the bottom line, and it's kind of getting more and more to that. But does it impact the bottom line enough to make them move the needle? Not quite yet.
Rough. Thanks for all your comments on this. We appreciate the insights. I like when we get to contemplating these types of things here, really kind of like thinking through what some of this stuff actually means and what's actually happening here. I go back and forth when I think about philanthropy here. I definitely didn't know much about it until I moved to Omaha in 2010, and every year keep learning, and more access to people and more conversations that I'm having, and just kind of realizing like what's going on. It is a lot of what you use it for when you get it, but it's also why the reason behind why it's given, and why that's given, and why other things are not being, they won't help in one area, but they'll give in this area. Really interesting stuff to learn about, and it really kind of makes you think about like what the machine is here. What's the machine? What's the engine behind all these things? Like what, what's making it so that you have to, you get stuck in a place. There's supposed to be help. The help feels like, giving you a ride when you need a car, or you know what I'm saying, like
rather than buying you a car or helping you get your own car,
right? Or just just being in a situation where we all can equally get what we need. So, and then what does that mean? We talk about all the when you think about like the whole of everything that we really talk about constantly on this show, it has to do with whether or not you're educated enough to be able to compete in certain areas, and even when you are, how other people who are in that same competition are getting a leg up above others, and then that's not even speaking to the people who need it the most, who need the most help. That's not speaking to the poverty of Omaha. That's speaking to us. Our audience are people that are kind of working in this industry, and are I don't even know what we can say we are. Everybody is struggling with funds, struggling with money, some more than others. And while we're struggling, we're trying to help others who are struggling more. And it gets frustrating when you see, when you hear about $600 million lakes and stuff that's happening.
Right.
It's frustrating. I'll stop talking about it. What say you in the chat? Let us know. Von Chapman says, yeah, like putting gas in a car that has no wheels and tires. Right.
There you go.
I'll lower the gas rate for you so you can put some gas in your car. My car's not running, bro.
Needs a whole new engine.
Sean McCarthy in the house. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Says Hurricane Katrina opened up my eyes to nonprofits and how some huge nonprofits, see American Red Cross, have huge administrative overheads. Yes. And thus a good portion of your donation goes to that admin cost and not the target of the aid.
It's a good point.
That is a good point. There is a machine here for gathering the funds, figuring out how to put those funds to best use. There does have to be some overhead. There does have to be some administration, but there's huge registration costs, administration overhead for some companies that seem disproportionate. Especially when you're talking about companies that are supposed to be disseminating funds to people who need it. Black Dynamite says they keep building shops and apartments and can't fill the ones that are already there.
That part. I mean, that's the perfect analogy, and that's literally what's happening.
Man, Wanda Lewis says 90% goes to the ad man in most instances. Yeah,
there you go. So again, that goes back to what Brother NMR Valentine says as far as the question is nonprofit, the engine or the avenue to lift the community up out of poverty? Possibly not. Most likely not. I definitely think that this once in a lifetime, hundreds of millions of dollars that's going to jobs and building an economic basis in North and South Omaha. I think that should be where the majority of our attention is going. And big shout out, as you mentioned, to Sister Kimmerer Snipes for putting together these pulling together, should I say, these organizations and these alliances to keep an eye on that and to try to have a say in where that money goes. That's definitely going to be a continued theme for this season.
Here's something else before we switch gears here. One more thing to consider that we should keep our eye on and maybe even have some conversations about. I spoke to Brother Mike Maroney yesterday as well from OEDC. He says that he has several projects in the works that are still in the works, and they've been 4 or 5 years in the works. What's the main issue with some of this development? He says funding. Okay, I said, the next words out of my mouth is, well, what's happening with this? What have you talked to anybody about this ARPA funding? Have you had any conversations about the hundreds of millions that are coming in? Hasn't really had much conversation. He's trying to find out who's in charge. He's trying to understand where it's going to go. And so he's having those kinds of conversations in the with the senators and stuff, just like we are. Like, where's this money going? Who's, how is it going to? I know that they were going to assign some of this money not to direct affordable housing, but to development companies so that they can create affordable housing. That's what OEDC is, right? So does that mean that some of these projects that have been lingering on for 4 or 5 years over there might get funded and might happen now? We'll see. So it just kind of brought back up in my mind what's already on the table. How many people have organizations out there that are doing stuff and are working on stuff right now, and that the funding that will be infused into the north side will help or finally get that to where it needs to go. Who's already got plans on the table? How will that help? So just thinking about it. Black Dynamite says, side note, thinking about nonprofit. Do y'all watch the Shy? Yeah. I watched the latest episode last night, thinking about that too. The kind of money that's behind certain things, sometimes certain nonprofits and stuff like that, and what they're actually trying to do for neighborhoods, and interesting stuff. Bon Chapman says, if you ever hope to have or start a permanent business, run from the word nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
Like we said, we worked at Malcolm X Memorial Foundation with Mind and Soul for those years. That was a nonprofit situation. We decided that First Sky Omaha had to be a for-profit company that we need to try to build. And even though we can't make use of nonprofit dollars because of what it is that we're doing, can't depend on it. From jump, we were like, we already know we can't depend on that.
Right. Got to figure something out. And it's a double-edged sword because to that note, you gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps, but it's hard when you ain't got no boots.
Yeah. Whitney Richardson in the house says, love that show too. Yeah, man, you gotta check out. I don't know if you've been checking out latest episodes of Shy. By the way, Yolanda Ross, who is a major actress in that series, is from Omaha, Nebraska. If you guys didn't know.
Yep.
Yep. Wanda Lewis says OEDC gets their share of TIF. So lots to look into about the development that is already going on around here for sure. Sean McCarthy puts a link in the chat, said this is a good tool to find out how much of your donation goes to admin versus the target of your donation. Interesting. I'd like to see some of them numbers for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And Black Diamond says makes you wonder what all goes into getting that money. It really, really does. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. It is 8:19 if you believe in the concept of time. Got some more subjects here to jump into. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Shifting gears a little bit. Have you anything you've been watching lately besides like I said, I watched the latest episode of The Chi. Any good TV on these days you've been checking out?
What have I been watching as of late? Actually, I got put onto this Hulu show called 9 Perfect Strangers.
It's on my list.
How's it
going?
Check it out.
Good?
Okay, it's interesting. Right. It's pretty good. It's kind of trippy a little bit. It's kind of sinister, a little insidious, if you will. Mm-hmm. But it's always like, you always get the sense that something more is going on than what you're seeing and hearing at the time. It's a pretty good show, pretty star-studded cast too. Some good actors.
I like that kind of stuff though, when they got a little something extra going on. You don't know if it's about to go sci-fi on you or whatever.
Yeah, you don't know what's about to happen, man. It's definitely an interesting show. But other than that, man, like I said, I just kind of wrapped up the Wu-Tang show on Hulu.
Yes.
And that's kind of been it. I haven't really been watching too much TV. I am looking forward to that new Nope that just came out though. I'm gonna definitely have to go catch that.
Nope, we gotta go. Yeah, that's in the theaters now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it just dropped last night. Actually,
yeah, I gotta go check out Jordan Peele's new joint. Nope. That's what I was like. That's what's up.
Got the E40 in the commercial.
Oh man. I checked that. Let's see, Shy. I got something on my list called Flatbush Misdemeanors. I'm gonna have to check out. Look like it's gonna be pretty funny.
Okay.
What do you guys in the chat? Let us know what you guys are watching.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, like how whatever show you're on right now kind of brings out a different perspective. Like just like Black Dynamite was saying about the Chi. Like you think about nonprofit organizations and grassroots organizations, and you think about like how it's being portrayed in this series, which is really interesting. And that series kind of did that too. It made me think about that too, like who's running for politics, the whole side of politicians. Yeah, man. So let us know what you're watching, if anything's good too. I know that my aunt has a page, a heads up a page, I think that's called something like discussion group for what's hot on what are you guys watching? Let's discuss it type of thing.
Okay.
And so I'm always checking on there to see what people are into, what's going on. Me and Pops always talk about that type of thing too. Let's see. Miss E says P Valley, Shy, all rise.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard P Valley was crazy, is getting crazy.
I see bits and pieces. My mom was watching that. I kind of caught some while she was watching it. It ain't quite took my fancy though. I wasn't. I didn't get the sense like, oh yeah, I need to check this out.
Oh yeah. I haven't gotten that sense either until like recently. I've been seeing a bunch of posts where they're like, "Who child P Valley is something else right now." I was like, okay,
yeah. Might seem too much. I actually been watching a lot of podcasts lately. Definitely music and financial podcasts. If you're in the music industry and you're interested, definitely check out the Cheat Code podcast. Wendy Day.
Follow the Money is what I'll be watching all the time now.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, is it no? Not follow. That's us.
That's us. Earn Your Leisure.
Earn Your Leisure. Thank you.
that was the second one I was going to name, and that we'll be referencing that podcast a lot this season. As far as Earn Your Leisure, is kind of the inspiration behind us going to Follow the Money with this one. Again, trying to break down some financial literacy, trying to break down just some business things. So yeah, man, please check out Earn Your Leisure. Do yourself a favor.
Mama God says, so what, buddy? I'm P Valley for life.
What's up, my Dukes? What's up? Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, Black Dynamite said Flatbush is funny, and all the politicians got a pass that gets swept under the rug. That's funny. Brooke says Higher Learning Podcast with Van Lathan. Okay. All right. Anybody watching Abbott Elementary anymore?
Man, yeah. I checked that out too. Yeah.
Black Dynamite said I saw the P Diddy doc the other day. I got that on my list for sure.
Okay.
Yep. Looks like Akitron Zykel's in there. Mother County Radicals podcast. Oh, that sounds interesting. Thanks for the link. I'll definitely check it out. The Most Dangerous Women in America. Okay. We'll see what's happening there. Mother County Radicals podcast. Check it out. Yeah. Any other podcasts or any kind of what do you consume? What are we consuming these days?
Of course, next week we're gonna be watching that Midnight Miracle live.
Hey,
Yeah, next week. Next week, man, it's going down. Yes.
That's what's up. Yeah, she says Brooke says All People's Party with podcast with Talib Kweli. So she's on that that Talib show.
Yeah.
Abbott Elementary is good. I hung out with Amber Ruffin last. Amber Ruffin's in town, by the way, and is going to do a show. She's going to do some stuff at the Benson Theater coming up. So she came through the theater yesterday to see what the theater can do and set it up and all that good stuff. And they were talking about her and Lacey, which is if you don't know, Amber Ruffin, her sister Lacey lives here in Omaha. They were just on Family Feud. And they were playing against the Abbott Elementary school folks. So they talked about that yesterday, which was funny. No More Valentine says boycotting television until Desus and Metro and Miro returns.
Man, shout out to Desus and Miro.
That's Miro. That's what happened. Where'd they go?
I think they went to streaming platform. They were on Showtime for quite some time, and I think they moved. I think they're still doing the thing. But yeah, definitely shout out to the Bodega Boys, man.
That's what's up. Nebraska Seeing Red podcast. I didn't know that Seeing Red had a podcast. I'm gonna have to definitely check that out. Also, Von Chapman says the sequels to the Trump insurrection.
There you go.
Yeah,
let the chat timers tell it the hottest ticket on TV right now.
Pop says hottest show on TV right now. As a matter of fact, you want to jump into that and talk about
actually,
it
that'd be a perfect transition, man. Thank y'all because we do have some news from that from NPR. So again, I still have not gone in and caught any of the hearings, but of course, whatever happens as a result, we will find out and discuss. And apparently, latest news coming out, again, reported by NPR, apparently Trump didn't act and didn't want to, plus 4 other takeaways from the January 6th insurrection. Again, the hearings have been going on, and some of the takeaways that NPR has outlined is the first one is Trump declined to tell rioters to go home for hours despite being urged to do so, which has consequences. The committee, of course, already laid out that Trump was aware that actually people in the crowd were in fact armed with weapons, and he did want them to be allowed to bypass metal detectors and be allowed into his speech at the Ellipse. He somehow was confident that they weren't there to hurt him. Also, in fact, when he finally did urge people to go home, when it happened to be clear what the insurrection would fail, he emphasized with them that was the last straw for Sarah Matthews, who's a former deputy press secretary who testified Thursday, saying he didn't distinguish between those who peacefully attended his speech and those we watched cause violence. As a spokesperson, I knew I would be asked to defend that. His refusal to act and call off the mob that day, his refusal to condemn the violence was indefensible, almost as if he wanted the violence to happen. And of course, his argument was a more political argument as far as whether or not he lost the election or not, or rather than a legal argument, which some have tried to make it. And apparently Trump still won't acknowledge the truth that he lost the 2020 election. Even to this day, he's instead using false grievance filed election lies as fuel for the potential 2024 run, which Michelle has laid out so eloquently in her past soapbox moments that were not out of the clear, that there is still a possibility that Trump could run again in 2024, which actually seems to be the key thing this committee is trying to prevent Trump holding office again. So I know, Paul, you've been eager to get out of the Trump conversations, but as I've dubbed it, the Trump effect has not worn off yet.
Nope.
And it seems to continue. And actually, it seems like there's a personal hinge to it for some of the members of the committee, also as the final takeaway from this, as this does not look like it will be the last hearing. Call it just the end of season 1, because Liz Cheney has left us with this cliffhanger, saying in the course of these hearings, we have received new evidence and new witnesses have bravely stepped forward. Doors have opened, new subpoenas have been issued, and the dam has begun to break. So definitely expect more hearings, more committees, more Trump.
Yep. Sean McCarthy says, interesting thing that the hearing brought up. Trump's tweet urged followers not to hurt the Capitol Police, but he didn't say don't hurt the congressional members.
If you remember, he urged, he has some choice words, I'll say, for his Vice President Pence, who didn't stand standing along his side. Remember, they even had the noose with Pence's name on it. So, yeah, man, yeah, it could have got a lot worse than it was. But the fact that it did get as bad as it did is not a good sign.
I did see the footage of when the secret police were trying to get Pence out of the building, and heard some of the you heard the correspondence with the guys, and they were trying to tell them who the people that are standing there, they're armed. They were trying to make a hole for him to get out to safety. Wanda Lewis said Pence is speaking of running in 2024. I just heard that this morning too, that he's on the campaign, and there's like a split right now with people that support Trump, and he's talking to the ones that don't, the other ones. S.J. Prater says white supremacy doesn't wear off. That's why they still believe and are willing to act.
Oh yeah,
I mean, is that what she said, to act?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Von Chapman says Trump is as delusional as Herschel Walker.
Oh man,
man, we ain't even talked about that cat yet. Wow. Whitney Richardson in the house says, let's see if the DOJ has the courage to pursue charges. Merrick Garland lacks courage, just like Biden and the rest of his cabinet. We're going to have to talk about Biden.
Yeah.
We are finally going to have to talk about Biden. But before we do, Pops, if you're still listening, give us I know that you were telling me, like, do not miss, this is must-see television going on with this January 6th trial. What were some of the highlights that you saw? And anybody else who wants to chime into the chat, what was the things that stuck out in your mind about some of the highlights here from this thing? Love to hear that. Like I say, I see bits and pieces. I don't really have time to sit down and watch the whole thing, but I see bits and pieces that seem real crazy, and that's interesting they put it that way. Season 1 with a cliffhanger.
More to come, man. More to come. And 2 years. I mean, I think it's going to be a very interesting 2 years, especially with this latest news coming out about Joe Biden and what, where will the country go after Biden's administration. Again, President Joe Biden has made news recently after it was announced for his plans to propose a steep funding increase for police, kind of a complete 180, if you will, from when he was first elected. If you remember, again, as we're now calling it Freedom Summer, one of the biggest calls from the people was for the defunding of police. And now here we are 2 years later, and Biden has plans to propose a steep increase in funding for police, hoping to show that Democrats are serious about combating violent crime, and despite the move potentially causing backlash from top members of his party's left flank. Again, a complete change in tone from the Biden administration. But quite interestingly, that scheduled trip to Pennsylvania, in which the announcement would be made, was canceled Thursday due to Biden testing positive for COVID-19. Man. Kind of the irony in all of it. His proposal is set to include $13 billion to help communities hire and train some 100,000 police officers over the next 5 years. Biden was also going to outline this proposal during a visit to Wilkes University in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. That was until White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre announced he was experiencing, quote unquote, very mild symptoms after the positive result. In total, Biden is proposing to spend roughly $37 billion for fighting and preventing crime. And again, that proposal is still expected to be rolled out once this illness is overcome.
S.J. Prater in the chat says, wait, no, Biden always said they needed more funding. He was criticized for that. It's not a 180 for him. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you taking into consideration the role he played in the 90s, the stick that everybody keeps putting on him in the bill that he signed, that ultimately, aided to exactly what we were talking about in the first hour of the show, as far as overcrowding in prisons, the whole preschool to prison pipeline, and just the industrial prison complex. It's not lost on me the role that Biden played in that, and just some of his stances in politics. But still, he leaned into those defunding calls, and he kind of used that as a campaign.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm looking at, is that he didn't exactly shy away from any of that stuff, and it was a little bit of a surprise to hear this news that's what he was getting ready to do, was go ahead and fund the police to a tune of trying to make more, 100,000 more police officers out here. And for some of the reasons why I read in some other articles where he talked about, because the Democrats need to be looking like they're tough on crime too. And anytime somebody says tough on crime,
it's a buzzword.
After I after I feel like I want to punch them in the face for saying it, then it brings you right back to what, okay, so really no difference. Here we are, we're back to that. And now, as a matter of fact, I was speaking to Star Trek Rich about it, and that's what he said too. It just shows like how middle of the road he is. He has always been. And not really representing what's going on. This is all coming up because in 2 years they're talking about whether or not he should run for re-election. And so there was another thing that Star Trek Rich brought out too, is about a while back he was getting ready to appoint a Republican judge, and something came up and they postponed that too. So there's all kinds of little stuff that's why we got to talk about Biden now. There's all kinds of little stuff going on with him that just is like, okay, what in 2 years, what really needs to happen? Who really needs to go? This tough on crime stuff, this stuff about police, is also one of the reasons why he chose the vice president he did. Because she was in California,
man.
Law enforcement, they're both all about it. So what's going to happen? And they're already saying that Kamala Harris is not going to. She's probably not going to, even though she's the heir apparent, really is not going to become. They're not going to vote for her to become president. Over Biden will run again before that tries to happen, and I don't think he's not going to make it. No. There's no way that he can. Whitney Richardson, I'm glad you're still here, says 94 crime bill all over again, just sealing his political coffin because he is done after this term. That's what people are saying.
Yep.
Mama God said, I'm glad Bernie Biden didn't got Trump out of there, but he is just too old.
As Michelle said, just a stopgap. She's kind of put the idea that Harris would be running after this, but actually she even said that Biden might not even make it this far. Right. But yeah, we don't know what's going to happen after this. It's kind of seems like it's really up in the air what could happen, and definitely when you add in the whole aspect of Republicans making their push. And I keep bringing up the attack on Gretchen Whitmer, the Democratic governor of Minnesota, and how dangerous it can be if some of these Democratic officials are seen as being soft on crime. It could mean attacks, like literal attacks on them. So I do think a part of this is possibly political chess, as the Omaha World Herald article lays out. It says Republicans are trying to gain leverage in November's midterm elections by portraying Democrats as unwilling to confront crime rates that have risen in some parts of the country. Some top moderate Democrats facing tough re-election fights have called for additional funding to fight crime, but the White House-led effort could also spark a political fight with progressives who have pushed for major policing reforms, but seeing those and others of its top priorities on combating climate change and dramatically increasing social spending. So, and then also keep in mind that the Policing Act that they tried to put, failed. I forget the name of it, but it's the Justice and Policing Act. It's not looking good. I definitely would say with this latest thing and then the failure to get that act passed, some could say that Biden administration is kind of failing.
Let me know in the chat, who do you think needs to run? I know we got some people that are keeping in touch, keeping track of these things, and have some other ideas. Who needs to run? I've had nobody say that the vice president needs to run yet. Every time I ask that question, what say you? Von Chapman in the chat says, what happened to the push to get rid of qualified immunity for law enforcement? Right.
And I think that was a part of the Policing Act. That was a part of that act that, kind of fell on its face.
Yeah. Also, Mama God said he does remind me of Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, dang.
That's what she said. That's why she called him Bernie Biden.
Okay.
Miss Erica Fell says, when inflation rises, so does crime, regardless of crime policies. Very true. Von Chapman says Biden's current stance will affect the blue vote. That's what we're saying. Sean McCarthy says the term smart on crime needs to be as popular as tough on crime. I like that.
Okay.
Whitney Richardson says with exclamation points. Whitney Richardson says Gavin Newsom.
Okay.
That's the third time I've heard that in the last 2 days. Yeah, apparently he stands up to the Republicans. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to him or even this subject right now. It's just hit me like this week that it's gonna be 2 years and we got to figure out something else about Biden.
I mean, it's going to be a year. You know, we're only about 365 days away from these campaigns really sparking up. So, yeah, it's coming back around very, very quickly. And yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of up for grabs. And I will say this on the Republican side, Pete Ricketts' name does come to mind with this. I mean, you think about this whole tough on crime spiel kind of being central to this election coming up. Pete Ricketts, billionaire, coming from Nebraska, one of the highest in cards. Like if anybody's tough on crime, the argument could be made that Pete Ricketts is.
He's positioned himself against Trump, which I think the majority of Republicans are at this point.
Yep.
So yeah, we might see that. Marianne Williams in the chat says, I've never forgiven Biden for how he treated Anita Hill and contributed to the confirmation of Justice Thomas and possibly appointing a pro-life Republican judge now put me over the edge. I'll vote for him in a general election if I have to, but I'll be begging Dems to give me someone else to vote for, though. That's very well said, that comment right there, because that's when I'm in discussions with anybody, that's exactly what they're saying. That's the summary of all of it. And then they say the one they want to give them is Gavin Newsom. They say that name right after they're saying that. So that's really interesting that you said that. Something to look out for, something to pay attention to, and that's what people are feeling. Like Biden, we said in the headlines today, we got to talk about Biden. Like it's like we haven't yet. We haven't really gone into like what he's done and not done, and so on and so forth. Bad news bears, man. Going back to that question that we put out to the chat a little earlier when we said what were the things that stood out for the January 6th stuff for you? Marianne Williams says, Pence Secret Service detail calling their families to say goodbye demonstrates for me the level of fear people experienced that day.
Wow.
Most deaf. Yeah, they were saying they were calling their families with some goodbyes, dude, like the plane was going down. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Pop says Trump knew that the violent armed mob he assembled was going to do big violence and didn't care because he said they weren't going to hurt him. Also, Bannon telling his friends exactly what Trump was going to say, no matter what the outcome of the election, and told his friends before the election and that Trump never really believed that he won. His act was all pre-planned. Some of the things that are standing out about these January 6th hearings for us, very interesting stuff.
Man.
Yeah. Going back to the other subject, S.J. Prater says DeSantis and Pence and Trump are the likely GOP candidates. I would rather take Biden or Democrat over them, or a Democrat over them.
We gotta get out of this lesser two evils, man. Like this whole cycle is just, we're not getting anywhere.
No.
Anywhere. Anytime soon.
No. Von Chapman in the chat says if philanthropy is addressed, poverty, crime would decrease. We gotta address philanthropy in his opinion. That's interesting. Definitely want to talk more about that. Sean McCarthy says for the younger folk, when I was 18 in 92, I don't think I really heard anything about Bill Clinton until very early 92. So a ton of stuff can happen in 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Whitney Richardson says, can't talk about crime without addressing poverty, and Dems are trying to go after Trump voters by appearing to be tough on crime and ignoring the black and brown base who that affects.
Yeah, and also the quote unquote black and brown base that keeps them in office and keeps them in power. It is very, very interesting, and why I necessarily don't consider myself a Democrat, because I feel like there is a lot of pandering that comes out of Democrats, and you know, you got I'll never let this go, man. You got Hillary Trump talking about she got hot sauce in her bag. Come on, man. Like the level of pandering gets almost nauseating, and then once you do get the votes, we get this kind of stuff.
You remember when they was in the hall on one knee with the kente cloth and all that?
Man, yeah. That's the type of stuff. It's like, come on, man. Like, Yeah, that ain't it. But to wrap this up, I did want to lay out Biden's plan a little in more detail as far as what he is planning to do with that $30+ billion towards, again, being quote unquote tough on crime. $3 billion will be geared toward clearing court backlogs and resolving cases involving murders and guns. The president also wants to use $15 billion to create a grant program that would fund ideas for preventing violent crime or creating a public health response to non-violence incidents aimed at reducing the burden on law enforcement, i.e. Reducing the interactions between police and those with mental health, which is a big issue, especially now.
Mm-hmm. Well, it all sounds good, but I don't like the premise.
Right. And once you reject the premise, the argument's kind of dead.
In number Valentine says, on paper, Ricketts can spin the number for Nebraska's success for any topic as his plan for America. Interesting. Yeah, man. Mama God says, unfortunately, that's right. Unfortunately, VP Kamala Harris was passive in her role and did not show her ability to run for president. Her poll numbers are real low, bro. Von Chapman says, Gavin Newsom for president and better work for VP. Okay, so here again, man. It seems to be a lot of the thinking people that I listen to are saying Gavin Newsom.
I'm trying to think. I'll be honest. I'm not too familiar. Is that California? Gavin Newsom out of California?
Yep. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like I haven't been paying attention. I haven't been paying attention to the presidential situation lately.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Right. So, that when I hear about the changes that are being made in California through him, it goes back and forth too. There's some good, there's some bad, but that's really all I've been paying attention to, without a thought about what's happening and what's going to be happening in 2 years. We're too busy trying to worry about November right now.
Right.
2022
in Nebraska. I'm talking about new blood in Nebraska. Right. So, but I will lay out, now that people are putting two and two together, do keep in mind that California is the only state with an official reparations committee. So I'll put that out there.
We've been saying it. Mama God said, that is what I said forever. People tend to vote against a candidate rather than for one. That's so true.
So it's the lesser two evils. It's kind of the only option you got.
Yep. 8:48 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, and we are coming towards the end of the show. It is Friday, so we want to have a little bit more of an extensive haps. So we'll go on and get the party started then.
What's the haps? What's happening?
Hey.
What's going down?
That's right. Time for the haps. Time for us to talk a little bit about what's going on, especially this weekend. And things that are important, things that are fun. Let us know. And if you have some of those too, let us know what's going on so we can push that on the page as well. We grabbed some haps from the Friends of First Sky Omaha page, which we really appreciate everybody who's put some of those haps in there. If you got something that you think we should be supporting, definitely put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha. That's where we pull a lot of these people. Keatron Cycle, first off, is reminding us, please let people know about the meeting in Miller Park Sunday to talk about the coal plant. Very interesting deal here. The coal plant, did not really even realize that was an issue, but it just goes to show you like how much we know, how much is in the news about any of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
1 to 4 p.m. Miller Park Sunday. Talk about the coal plant. And, all the issues surrounding that. So appreciate that, Keatron Zyko. Also, check out noise.org? Noise.com.
Noiseomaha.com.
Yep. They go in on all the subjects, so definitely check them out. I'll put that in the chat for you. Pop says Newsom, yes, he's personable and forward-thinking and has handled COVID well. So, okay. Some neutral parties there talking about what's going on there. Yeah. Very interesting. Anyway, as far as the haps is concerned, Buddy, you got some haps for the people?
Yeah. Well, one that we kind of, as we wrap up our conversation about the election, November coming up, letting the people know if you're planning on voting early, do not expect a green card to come to your home. They kind of switched it up on us, so we're letting the people know that the early voting ballot application postcards will be printed on a white card rather than the typical green card. So again, if you are looking out for that, you get a white card in your mail, don't just throw it out. Please read it. please look at it, please examine it, and make sure that you know what you are receiving in your mail. Again, this is all in regards or as a result of supply issues. I guess the white postcards will have selected text highlighted in green on each side of the mail piece. The format and use of the cards will be the same as previous elections. Only the color of the card will be different for this election. That's as explained by Brian Cruz, who's a Douglas County election commissioner. So again, if you are planning on voting early, voting from home, please keep in mind that the green cards will not be coming in. They will be white this year. So I know there's some people on friends of saying this can cause confusion. So let's try to avoid that.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like they're trying to, it feels like something that's happening in order to cause some confusion about it. I mean, they can't find no green cards. I don't know. So
yeah, let's avoid the confusion, y'all, and just please keep an eye out. Again, it will be a white card with green wording on it. So look out for that.
Most def.
Also, can't forget, big shout out to our friends over at Benson First Fridays, the BFF. Our BFFs in Benson. Again, the New American Arts Festival going down Friday, August 5th. That's from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. It's a good time, man. Please show up and support our New American brothers and sisters. Again, those are our refugee community members who are coming in and trying to find their way, towards the American dream. But this is all a celebration of their native cultures. Again, definitely one of the most diverse events in the Omaha area. So come out, get you some good food, get you some good clothing, support the vendors, and of course check out the performances. It's going to be a good time. Again, big shout out to Benson First Fridays. That's August 5th in downtown Benson.
There you go. I remember Maha's coming up. I don't know how many people are trying to go to Maha. That's in a couple weeks. I believe July 29th and 30th. And our own Marcy Yates from the Culture House will be performing on that day on Saturday, July 30th. So check out Maha. Maha's coming up soon. It's our big yearly festival out here. Not really familiar with too many of the performers this year.
Okay.
Like I said, I might check out if I was going to go, I might have checked out Princess Nokia. But as far as the lineup is concerned, I'm more interested in the local
for
acts,
sure.
Like Marcy Yates on the 30th. Also, speaking of Culture House, they got a concert coming up here too on August the 10th. So put that on your calendar. August the 10th, hip hop and R&B, how it should be done. It's going down. They got some artists coming in from out of town, as you can see: Steady P, Chill Mac, our own Omaha's Rhea Gold, Static Soul, so Ty Gordeau. So it's kind of going down over at the Culture House. They are still a place where you can go see some hip hop shows and see some local talent and so on and so forth. Definitely support. It's an all ages event. And again, it's 314 North 24th Street. And check it out, man. Culture House, River City Function, hip hop and R&B, how it should be done.
Man,
I need to go see that myself. See what's going on.
Right there on the deuce.
Also, speaking of legends in Omaha, since we were talking about Marcy Yates, Kathy Tyree will be directing a major play at the Benson Theater, American Son, by Christopher DeMose Brown. Definitely check that out. It's going good. The rehearsals are going good. The cast has been set, and man, sets are being built. It's going to be a major affair. So get your tickets early. It's going to be one of those ones that sell out. It's a whole run that's happening in August. Definitely check that out. August 18th is going to be the first day, so put that on your calendar. And there's going to be lots of discussion and some good runs of American Son. And we're just super excited to be working with the legendary Kathy Tyree, who's directing this play at the Benson Theater. So definitely check that out and get your tickets early. We'll be talking more about that. I think I'm going to even try to have her come on in August and talk about this a little bit. It's going to be dope.
I think I heard about that play before.
Yeah, they made it into a movie, and I think the movie's like on HBO. Made a short film out of it. So very powerful play about a young black man who got hemmed up by the police, and the play takes place in the police department office, where the mother is really trying to find out what happened to her son and not being told, not being treated well. So it's a dynamic play, well written. And like I said, the legendary Kathy Tyree directing. So definitely check that out. Go to bensontheater.org you can get your tickets early on that one for sure.
Man.
And one more that I got before I let you jump in there. This is just something close to my heart right here. Tomorrow night at the Sydney, three DJs are going to be spinning. One of them is a friend of mine from out of town, from St. Louis area. Raven Fox. I don't know if you remember Raven Fox, who used to DJ, come through the House of Loom and DJ. But yeah, he's an entertaining cat, man, with a lot of history. Good dude, real good dude, and he's coming into town, man. So we're gonna be hanging with him. Crab Rangucci, who's my favorite DJ in Omaha right now. DJ Crab Rangucci is dope. And then Cobra Kyle. That's happening at the Sydney tomorrow, 10 o'clock. That's Saturday night, free 99. So come on in and check them out. 10 o'clock to 2 a.m. It's going to be a real DJ party happening right there in Benson. So just want to give them a shout out. Shout out to Raven Fox.
Man.
This cat, man, I'm trying to tell you, I have him on the show when he comes through, because he got history. He's amazing.
I've heard you talk about Raven Fox in the past, so definitely looking forward to that. And of course, Crab Rangucci, dope DJ. Not too familiar with Cobra Kyle, but I have heard the name a couple of times. So yeah, if you're in the Benson area, definitely go ahead and treat yourself and check that out. Sounds like it's going to be a doozy.
Oh yeah.
But also, before we get out of here, I definitely wanted to let the people know again. Follow the money is the theme of this season. If you are a small business owner or interested in becoming a small business owner, Shift Omaha will be hosting their biannual small business clinic. That's going down on Wednesday, September 7th from 11 to 3 p.m. So again, that's coming up. Mark your calendars. September 7th from 11 to 3 p.m. That will be at the Nebraska Highlander, the venue at Highlander right there on 30th. So definitely check that out. Again, if you're interested in becoming a business owner, or you already are a business owner and looking to educate yourself further, definitely check that out.
Yeah. That'll work.
I got one last one too, if that's all right. It's a big shout out to our partners at the Union for Contemporary Art. It seems like they're bringing back Kith on August 12th. It says you are invited to join us in an evening of food and fellowship in the Union's Abundance Garden. Come enjoy the late summer blooms of the garden and the opportunity to embrace new friendships. A perfect opportunity to bring the community together. Of course, participation is free. Though space is limited to 40 people, as the garden is quite intimate. But if you would like to join this potluck dinner and fellowship with the good folks down at the Union for Contemporary Arts, check that out. That will be going down. I'm not seeing a day or a time. Oh yeah, August 12th. Of course, August 12th. Do not see a time yet though.
Yeah. Right on. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. If you got any more halves, drop them in Friends of First Sky Omaha, and we'll definitely take a look at them. Be aware and be very, very aware, people. We have a crisis going on. We're out of green paper. There's a green paper shortage, green stock shortage. But luckily us here at Friends of First Sky Omaha and you, the chat chimers, have figured out a solution. Brother Valentine says he ain't seeing a shortage on Amazon. He said if they want to borrow his Prime membership, green paper,
email the password.
Bro, he'll hook it up. He'll hook you up. So
yeah, get you right.
He'll get you right. So anyway, so yeah, just be aware. Just be aware. You know, it's a tragedy, man. It's this green paper tragedy. It's
man. Crazy. I don't know what the world is coming to.
Hey, Boogie's in the house, man. What's going on? This is Miss E's son. She's driving.
Okay.
And he says, this is Boogie. My mother said, great show. Stay safe. Drink your water. Check your chest. Follow your money.
Hey.
Right on. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you very much for joining us. And again, just love having these conversations with you guys every day. So just really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get up out of here, man. So get out on time for once. You got some words for the people?
As always, man, we appreciate. We thank you. Big shout out to brother Tre King of the King Clan for coming through and speaking with us, letting us know what they have going on and just bossing with us for a little bit. Definitely check him out. Again, if you'd like to get involved or reach out, you can reach him at TreKingSenior@gmail.com. Again, that's TreKingSenior@gmail.com. And if you missed that interview, you can always go back and watch any past episodes of First Sky Omaha in the morning on First Sky Omaha on Facebook, or you can check us out on YouTube at First Sky Omaha. Also, we are broadcasting live on Twitter. So we appreciate all the support we receive. And until next time, big shout out to the chat chimers. We love you. We thank you. We appreciate you. Paul B, take it away.
Right on. Brooke says, great show. Thanks, Brooke. Appreciate it. Whitney Richardson is reminding us, man, this green paper crisis, is it a sophisticated voter suppression? Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Really, really got to think about that. Brother Valentine says, Brother Tre already hit me up. Much respect on the follow through. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
young
that's
boss.
What it's about.
Young boss. Young
that's what
boss.
It's about. The follow through. That's what I like to hear.
There you go. Whitney Richardson says, great show as usual. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate you chiming in on the show, especially when we get to talking about some of the political things. I know that I look for you and your contributions there because I know your background. So I appreciate you coming through, and I appreciate all of you, everybody who is in the chat and chiming up, having these great conversations. Continue to tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Continue to share the show so we can get as many people discussing things as possible, especially if you think that their voice needs to be heard. That's what we're here to do, is just to really help people's voices be heard. And remember, all the news outlets are paying attention. They're paying attention. And the ones that don't, we throw stuff to them so they will, so that we can get, we can make sure that they hear what the people's talking about. For the people, by the people, we the people.
There you go.
Going down. Shout out to and thanks to the Umaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And shout out to you, all the chat chimers who are part of this discussion. And we can't do this discussion without you. We also cannot run the show without everyone who is a supporter of the channel as well. We have $10 supporters, $25 supporters, and $50 supporters. We want to thank all of them for continuing on their reoccurring donations for us to keep this show, this party going, keep the party going, keep the conversation happening. So if you are inclined to donate, please go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button, and become a reoccurring member. We really, really appreciate you. Vanglorious. That's right, Brother Valentine.
Hey.
Going down. It's protected by the red, the black, and the green. Next week, it's going to be a legendary week for us. Matt, we're going to be taking off to California and making some connections and creating some contact and having some love between the LA crews and the Omaha crews and trying to bring some good stuff. So really appreciate it. Love you guys. Have a great weekend to you too. And thank you so much. And you guys have a great weekend. Anything pops up, throw it in Friends of First Sky Omaha. We're still looking at it. We might show up to some things. So let us know. So other than that, we're going to let you go. So you guys have a good one. Peace. Follow the money.
By the way, Vanglorious.